We are kicking off our Italian journey in the stunning Lombardy region, right here in Bergamo, and I have to say, it's already stealing my heart. First, we'll hop on the historic funicular that whisks us right through the massive Venetian walls and up into the heart of the medieval town. It's the ultimate entrance. Once inside the heart of the city, we checked out the views from the old fortress. From the imposing gates to the quiet corners of the upper city, Bergamo is truly a preserved masterpiece. We then walked to the spectacular Piazza Vecchia. Then, prepared to be speechless at the Basilica di Santa Maria Maggiore, a treasure chest of gold and tapestries. And we tracked down the legendary Il Fornaio for a slice of their must-try, fluffy pizza al taglio. Then checking out the rare antique globes inside the beautiful Biblioteca Mai. We literally just stepped out of a very convenient parking spot, Piazza Libertà parking, and we were in Bergamo. And the adventure started immediately. Here's the thing, for those of you planning your own trip. Bergamo is actually two cities in one. We have the lower, modern section, known as Città Bassa, that's where we are right now, and the absolutely magical, walled-in historical upper town, Città Alta. It's a city of about 120,000 people, located perfectly near Milan, but honestly, it feels a million miles away. It sits right at the foot of the Alps, giving it the most insane backdrop. And it's the perfect mix of history and modern Italian life. Right next to the parking garage, we found ourselves in this quiet little corner called Piazzetta San Marco, with the beautiful, ancient-looking Church of San Marco right there. Did you know that the Church of San Marco is often linked to Venice? Our first stop on this Bergamo travel guide? Well, we're famished. We drove all the way from Florence, so before we take the legendary funicular up to the old town, our stomachs demanded a pit stop. We took a little detour down the road next to the church, past the post and telegraph office, and turned right into a place called Lu Gu Restaurant. This place was cozy, and the food? Bellissimo. It was the perfect, hearty Italian welcome. A great way to start our Città Alta adventure. With a very full stomach. We're now walking up Via Antonio Locatelli, and that building at the end? That's our chariot to the past, the funicolare Città Alta station. We grabbed our two-way tickets. Pro tip. Get the round-trip ticket, your legs will thank you later. Now, the funicular itself is an attraction. It was first built way back in 1887, connecting the lower and upper cities. It's more than just transport, it's a piece of living history. Look at this. The ride is short, just a few minutes. It's like a vertical time machine. It climbs about 85 meters up a very steep incline, giving you a sneak preview of the incredible views you're about to get. We step out right next to Palazzo Swardi, a beautiful old structure, and the sheer energy here is electric. It's Piazza Mercato delle Scarpe. It's crowded, vibrant, and a little overwhelming, with all these paths and alleys leading in every direction. It's basically the main entry point into the ancient city, and everyone is fanning out, looking for the main square. We stood there for a minute, with other excited travelers, wondering which cobblestone path to take. And you know my husband. He immediately goes. We're doing the opposite of everyone else. Classic. If everyone goes left, we go right. It's our secret for finding the most peaceful spots and getting away from the main crush of people. So, off we set, up a quiet, uphill path, leaving the crowds behind us. This path led us right out of the Piazza Mercato delle Scarpe and started climbing. The air immediately felt quieter, the buildings were ancient stone, and it felt like we were walking into a movie set. Seriously, keep those knees strong, because Città Alta is built on a hill. This is the authentic Bergamo experience you want. We finally made it. We've reached the summit of our climb, the incredible Rocca di Bergamo. Now, for some context, the Rocca sits on the Santa Eufemia hill, one of the oldest inhabited parts of the city. This imposing fortress was built in the 14th century, but the hill itself has been a fortified spot since the Celts. Before we even step inside, look at this view right outside the walls. Oh my goodness! The terracotta rooftops of Città Alta spread out like a beautiful, chaotic map below us. Let's go in. The best part? Walking the beautiful grounds. The whole garden area is free. This entire area is a gorgeous park called the Parco delle Pace, or the Peace Park. There is a museum inside that charges an entrance fee, but you can just come here to breathe and soak it all in. We were now at an open viewing platform where they've displayed some historical relics. Look! We've got these amazing old cannons and artillery guns placed as a nod to the fortress's military past. It was a strategic defensive location after all. From up here, the views are unbelievably clear. You can see all the way across the plain. This park is stunning, not just for the views, but because it's so peaceful. It's incredibly well maintained. You've got these lovely manicured flower beds, winding paths, and those majestic, towering trees providing perfect shade. It feels like an escape within an escape. What this really means is, you need to bring a camera with a wide-angle lens for this section. Parco delle Pace is filled with sculptures and statues that honor the various wars and soldiers. It's a quiet tribute, a place of remembrance, hence the Peace Park name. These relics, set against this perfectly manicured greenery, tell a story. You're getting the best views of Bergamo from this vantage point. You can see the modern towers down in Città Alta, and the ancient, majestic rooflines of Città Alta, right below us. As we walk around, I'll show you some of the amazing views that you can enjoy from the park. And just when you think you've seen it all in a peaceful Italian garden, boom! There's a tank. A literal, military tank, sitting quietly in the corner of this tranquil garden. It's one of those quirky, unexpected things you find in places layered with so much history. Honestly, I could sit here all day. It's so quiet and uncrowded up here. That's what's great about choosing the less traveled path. We get this entire panoramic view almost to ourselves. I wanted to just curl up and read a book, but someone, my husband, was convinced we have too much to see and too little time. Always the sensible one. So, we pressed on. Look out there. You can spot the tall, iconic towers of Città Alta, particularly the Torre del Gambito and the Campanile. Those were built centuries ago, mostly for defensive purposes by the city's powerful families. Let's talk a little more about this amazing fortress. Before it was a museum and a peaceful park, it was a proper military garrison. The structure you see, especially the imposing keep and the circular tower, shows the different eras of control, from the Visconti to the Venetians, who adapted the walls to handle artillery. It's a literal cornerstone of Bergamo's history. So, history lesson time, because you can't truly appreciate this place without it. Bergamo has a deeply rooted, fascinating past. The Old Town, or Città Alta, is essentially an ancient, Venetian-walled fortress. For centuries, it was controlled by different powers, from the Visconti family to the Republic of Venice, which left its distinct architectural mark all over this upper part. And what about life here in Bergamo? Compared to cities like Milan, it's generally more affordable. Housing in the ancient Città Alta can be pricey because, well, of the location, but overall, it offers a great quality of life. It's not just a tourist spot, it's a living, breathing Italian city. Bergamo is a compact town, with 120,000 inhabitants living in the city proper, but part of a larger metro area nearing approximately 900,000 inhabitants. It lies in northern Italy's Lombardy region, in the southern foothills of the Alps. Now, the fortress is also home to the Historical Museum of the 19th century. This museum focuses on the history of the region from 1797 to 1870, basically covering the period of the Risorgimento, Italy's unification. It's full of artifacts, documents, and multimedia exhibits. We peeked in, and honestly, we realized it would take a lot of time to properly appreciate it, and since we're trying to pack in the main landmarks of Città Alta, we decided to skip the fee and the deep dive this time. Sometimes, you have to make those tough travel decisions, right? If you've been, let me know if it's a must-see for a future trip. Time to descend and get back into the heart of the town. We're retracing our steps, heading back towards that cool tower we spotted earlier, the Torre Vecchia di San Pancrazio. Here it is. The Torre Vecchia di San Pancrazio. This is a medieval tower, a bit less famous than the Campanone, but just as photogenic. It's another brilliant example of Bergamo's medieval defenses, tucked away just off the main path. It used to be part of the city's defensive structure. Now we're walking deeper into town. This is the part one love. We're losing the main crowds again and just wandering the ancient alleys. Seriously, look at these streets. They're narrow, built with beautiful old stone, and every corner looks like a postcard. The rhythm of these backstreets is slow and peaceful. You can imagine medieval life unfolding right here. Our wanderings brought us to a really serene corner of town, right near the ancient wall. The Convent of San Francesco. It's one of the finest examples of medieval architecture in Bergamo, built around these gorgeous, quiet cloisters. It currently houses the Seistini Photography Museum. Can you imagine a better spot for a photography museum than a beautiful old convent? We're circling back now, heading toward the main hub. As we walk, you can start to feel the energy pick up again. We're moving from the quiet, residential corners back to the vibrant commercial center. What this really means is that we're getting close to where all the good shops and gelato spots are. It's the full spectrum of Bergamo Old Town life. And here we are, back in a slightly more crowded area. A good sign we're near the Piazza Vecchia. And we've reached the Church of San Pancrazio. We popped inside for a moment. Not only is it a chance to see some more incredible Italian art. The interior is filled with beautiful stucco and gold decor. But honestly, my feet are starting to protest a bit after that uphill climb. It's a beautiful Baroque church, a real contrast to some of the rougher medieval stone we've been seeing. It's a good moment to just sit, reflect, and rest the legs. Remember, travel is a marathon, not a sprint. Right next to the church, you can see the Fontana del Gambito. The name Gambito actually comes from the Latin for crossroads, because this area was historically the intersection of the main Roman roads. This part of town is definitely where the party is. The streets are bustling, shops are open, and the smells of freshly baked polenta a ose, Bergamo's signature dessert, are starting to drift over. It's lively, charming, and exactly what you picture when you think of a historic Italian town square. Okay, before we move on and head toward the main piazza, this is a good moment for a quick check-in. If you're enjoying this walk through incredible Città Alta, please hit that like button and subscribe for more hidden gems like Bergamo. And let me know in the comments. Would you dare to climb up to the Rocca, or would you take the funicular all the way? Seriously, tell me your travel style. Despite my husband's valiant attempt to duck into a quieter back alley, it was quickly clear that all roads in the upper town lead to this main thoroughfare, and there's simply no avoiding the charming crowd. This is the quintessential medieval street experience, alive with a vibrant hum. The street is lined with elegant, centuries-old buildings, their ground floors now housing a delightful mix of unique boutiques, artisan shops, and, crucially for me, the most tempting food spots. The cobblestones beneath our feet, in some sections, you can even spot the original Roman Basilica paving, speak of immense history. I couldn't resist a stop at Domu's Gelato, where I indulged in a 2 scoops gelato. That's Italy in a nutshell. A centuries-old street, a medieval tower looming above, and perfect gelato in hand. The street curves slightly, guiding us, and then, without much warning, it opens up into a spectacular reveal. The main town square, Piazza Vecchia, unfolds before us. It's often called the Renaissance Parlor, for its harmonious, almost theatrical architectural layout. Piazza Vecchia is the former political and civic center of Bergamo. It's an almost perfectly rectangular square, enclosed by some of the most magnificent buildings in the city. In the center is the elegant Contarini, a large, intricate stone fountain featuring sphinxes and lions, a serene focal point that anchors the piazza. Dominating one corner is the Civic Tower, or the Campanone. Originally built as a defensive tower in the 12th century, it became a civic symbol. At 10 p.m. every night, it still rings its 100 chime, a tradition that historically announced the closing of the city gates. Immediately catching the eye is the magnificent building housing the Biblioteca Civica Angelo Mai, Bergamo's public library. And I will bring you inside in a while. Walking directly under the arches of the Palazzo della Ragione and through an opening, we immediately enter the religious heart of the city. This is Piazza Duomo. On our left is the Palace of Reason, the oldest communal palace in Lombardy, dating back to the 12th century. Here, the buildings are a masterclass in detail and devotion. The smallest building, the baptistry, is an elegant octagonal structure, made of red Verona marble. It was built in 1340 and originally stood inside the Basilica but was moved in the 17th century and later reassembled in its current spot. Its bas-reliefs depict scenes from the life of Christ. Basilica di Santa Maria Maggiore is arguably the most imposing structure. Now, this is the one you need to know about. To access the Basilica, you typically pay a modest entry fee of €5. And there is a strict no filming policy inside. The fee helps preserve its jaw-dropping interior, which we sadly are not allowed to film. I can only show you a glimpse of it, which I had to film, from the outside. Stepping inside the Basilica is an overwhelming experience. It is perhaps one of the most richly decorated churches in all of Italy. Next, we stepped into the Bergamo Cathedral. While not as overwhelming as Santa Maria Maggiore, it possesses a refined beauty that is incredibly striking and peaceful. The interior is a vast, single nave, bright and solemn, dominated by white walls accented with elegant, graceful gilding, a beautiful example of Renaissance and Baroque styles. We saw magnificent artworks, including paintings by Tiepolo, in the apse. Look for his dramatic martyrdom of Bishop St. John of Bergamo. The main altar, designed by Filippo Uvara, is a focal point. In contrast, Santa Maria Maggiore's sheer density of ornamentation is staggering. Compared to Bergamo Cathedral, the Basilica's interior is completely covered in vibrant 17th-century tapestries depicting biblical scenes, including some from Florence and Brussels. Sadly, I cannot show you the interior, so you will need to look it up by yourself. We found the peaceful lower chapel, some kind of crypt area, which reveals the long history of the site, with remains of an earlier church and even Roman structures. It's a humbling journey through time. Then, we explored the richly adorned side chapels, each a miniature art gallery, confirming this church, along with its neighbor, as two of the most well-decorated churches I have ever come across. They are a testament to Italian craftsmanship and deep religious devotion, managing to be both grand and incredibly serene at the same time, unlike many similar grand churches that can sometimes feel cold. Before I forget, there is Colleoni Chapel, which is attached to the Basilica di Santa Maria. This structure is a Renaissance masterpiece, a true jewel box built for the leader Bartolomeo Colleoni. Leaving the Bergamo Duomo, we walked past the Cathedral Treasury Museum, which houses precious liturgical objects, and headed back across Piazza Vecchia to the magnificent Palazzo Nuovo. This is the Biblioteca Civica Angelo Mai. We entered the stunning Palazzo Nuovo, and the first step was security. We had to leave our bags in a free locker. Then only, we could climb the stairs to the upper floors. The interior of the Palazzo Nuovo is impressive, but the library itself is breathtaking. Follow me, let us go upstairs, and I'll show you more in just a minute. The library was founded in the late 18th century by Giuseppe Alessandro Foriati and named after the renowned cardinal and philologist Angelo Mai. It holds an immense collection of around 730,000 volumes, including incunabula, illuminated manuscripts, and rare books. It's a treasure trove of knowledge, housed in a monumental building, and a perfect blend of civic pride and intellectual heritage. But the real treasure here is the pair of massive 18th century terrestrial and celestial globes, dominating one of the reading rooms. They are utterly spectacular. The other jewel in the crown is the old reading room. A high-ceilinged space, lined with beautiful wooden shelving units and study desks, with people quietly reading and working. It is quite a climb to reach the library, from the entrance of the palazzo. We explored several rooms, the atmosphere quiet and academic. The interior is gorgeous. Tall ceilings, large windows, historic wood shelves, students and local folks working quietly. I felt like I was in a scene from a movie. It was time for some well-deserved dinner. From outside the library, we turned right, which leads to one of the most famous and highly rated spots, for a quick, delicious meal. Il Fornaio. This is a must-try because it specializes in pizza by the slice, which is a distinctive, delicious departure from the classic Neapolitan round pizza. It's informal, fast, and focused purely on quality. You grab your slices, often including options like burrata or seasonal vegetables, and enjoy it. Satisfied with our pizza, we continued our walk along the western edge of the town, past the Torre della Campanella. The Torre is a striking medieval tower that acts as a gate and features an ancient clock. This brought us to the quiet, historic area centered on the Piazza della Cittadella. This square sits within the remains of the Visconti citadel, a powerful 14th-century military fortress, built by the Visconti family of Milan, to consolidate their control. Reaching this square truly signaled the edge of the upper town. It was here, seeing the western limits of this walled city, that we knew it was time to head back towards the funicular. Bergamo is a city of layers, with Roman foundations, medieval towers, and Renaissance grandeur, all contained within the majesty of the Venetian walls. It is, without a doubt, a perfect day trip and a truly unforgettable Italian experience. Remember to hit like, click subscribe, and drop a comment.